the 5-step formula to resolve disagreements with your spouse for good without yelling, shutting down, or walking on eggshells. Okay, sound good to you? All right, here we go. Brief introduction. Most of you know me already as Dr. Kavetha Sun. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist, and I'm also a couples therapist. As I was writing this slide, I was taken aback by, that I've had 11 years of experience. Time certainly flies by when you're having fun. I love what I do, and I can't believe it's been more than a decade, right? At work, they call me the doctor with the magic wand. That's my nickname. I think it comes from the fact that I love talking to my patients and clients and helping them with relationship stuff, because I really feel like, what is in our hearts and what's in the space between us as people, that's where there's so much potential for glory or for heartbreak, right? And so that's the space that I'm most drawn to and most try to help and heal. So I'm also the creator of a program called Love Unlimited, which is a 4-month online course for couples in crisis. So that's a brief introduction. I'll tell you more about my story and how I came to do what I'm doing here in front of you a little bit later, but that's a brief intro. So just to make sure you're at the right place, let's make sure that this webinar is for you. You're at the right place if you want to stop this emotional roller coaster and bring back some peace and calm into your heart, into your space, in your relationship, and into your home. If you'd like to have your relationship be a safe, secure harbor, an unconditional space where you can sink back and feel fully known and loved, cherished, in fact, for who you are. If you want to be able to discuss anything under the sun with your partner, even hard stuff, without criticizing or shutting down. To be each other's best friend and fill your home with the sounds of friendship, laughter and affection. To pass on a healthy, happy model of love to your children. A lot of couples who come to me, they see how their children are absorbing all the hurt and pain and the push-pull dynamic in their relationship, and it hurts their heart, what we grow up with in our childhood as a model for love and family and connection and resolving disagreements, that will impact your children for the rest of their lives, not just in how they are in their romantic partnerships. It'll affect how they do in their careers. It'll affect their friendships. It will affect their marriage or their partnerships. And it will even affect the way they are with their children, right? So when you take time and put in the effort to save and soothe and heal your relationship today, now, you're not just saving your relationship, you're saving several generations to come, okay? There's a lot of research around this. So you are definitely in the right place if you want these things for yourself. And moreover, if you want to know deep in your bones that you are an invincible team together, nothing can break this bond. Okay, if you want that, you're at the right place. Does this sound familiar to you? Okay, you wake up with the best of intentions, but almost every day something triggers you and you feel stuck, replaying the same patterns over and over again. You end up in arguments with one of you yelling or storming off or feeling really hurt and shutting down. You're beginning to wonder, maybe, did I pick the wrong person? Are we just not meant to be? Or are we just not compatible with each other, right? You're tired and exhausted of all the tension and the push-pull dynamic, even if a few days seems to go well and then something else comes up, right? You're starting to feel guilty and worried. Oh my gosh, we are passing on an unhealthy model to the future generation. And you're starting to feel scared, really starting to worry and feel panicked a little bit that, is this going to last? Are we going to end up in a divorce? Or maybe we'll just stick together, but kind of unhappy, maybe for the sake of society or our families or our children, but not really satisfied, right? If this sounds, even if parts of it resonate with you, then you're at the right place. In the next 45 minutes, you will learn how to clearly see each step in your relationship dance, your unique dance, okay? What your role is, what your partner's role is, how you're getting into this dance, and how to get out of it, right? We're going to learn how to stop these pointless arguments, dissolve resentment, and stop this up and down relationship roller coaster. Recreate fun and friendship. Understand why, when we go to get help, whether it's with advice from friends and family or whether it's a couples therapist, oftentimes they immediately hone in and tell us that we just need to be better communicators, right? But the conventional wisdom on more communication is actually doing more harm than good. When you go there without building some other important things, which I'll teach you about, it actually hurts more than helps. We'll also learn how to talk so you feel listened and heard and understood. Couples come to me often, it's really heartbreaking that both parties often feel really lonely, and they say, I don't think my partner really understands or knows my inner heart, my world. So they want to feel just seen and heard and understood. And if you want that, I am betting there's a good chance your partner wants that too, okay? Even if they don't say it. So we'll learn how to do that. We're going to learn how to sleep peacefully at night, knowing that you are creating a relationship that is growing every day in love, and you're creating a happy, healthy home for your heart, for your relationship, for your family. Okay? So here's my promise to you. In the next 45 minutes, I'm going to teach you a step-by-step strategy. This is not a theory class. We're actually going to be doing exercises. Step-by-step strategy to create a home filled with love, security, connection. And we're going to do this without compromising or settling. If you're in a relationship and you feel like you're bending over backward, trying to walk on eggshells, let me not set my partner off. If I'm just more patient for a little bit longer, magically somehow my partner will change, the relationship will be different. It's unlikely to happen, right? The only thing that happens is that you end up with a lot of resentment and bitterness. And that's not a recipe for a successful relationship. So we're not going to compromise or settle. We're going to do it without that, okay? I have a request. I've been on many webinars, and sometimes I get good content out of it, and sometimes I don't. And oftentimes it's because I wasn't fully present. Right? We live in a world where we're bombarded with technology all the time. We constantly have, other tabs open, cell phone open, Facebook, and maybe someone wants our attention at work or at home. So you are here. If you are here, you're here for a very important reason. You're here for your heart, for your relationship, and for your family. There's nothing more sacred. There's no other sacred undertaking you're going to take. So give yourself the gift of, being able to be present. Shut down all the other tabs, put your cell phone away, and tell people at home, hey, I'm not going to be around for another 45 minutes, and take this time to be fully present. I promise you it'll make a difference. Okay? All right. So also, there's nothing for sale today. Okay? This is purely educational. If you do stay till the end, I have a free gift to share. I've done this before, and people have really been grateful and really appreciated the value of what I share at the end as a gift. So do stick around. I'm certain you will love it. Okay. All right. Here's what I see happening in the field of couples therapy right now. Okay. Couples go in saying, oh, we don't agree on this, or something terrible happened in our relationship, and we are just not happy, and we might be on the verge of divorce. And immediately, the therapy focuses on conflict management and communication skills, right? And then the couples go in every week, there's a new problem, and there's new communication skills. Sadly, you've had a whole week in between to brood about this, okay? And we know how to push our partner's buttons better than anyone else, right? And they know how to push our buttons better than anyone else. So you have had a whole week to think up ways to defend yourself against any possible attack. And so you go there, you problem solve, and you reluctantly work on some watered down compromise that really nobody wants. And you solve one problem and there's another one, right? And so you go round and round, putting out fires one after the other. Literally, I've seen couples in therapy for years going from one problem to the next, and they're all just symptoms. Whereas all this time, the disease that is underlying isn't getting treated and it's getting worse and worse. The good news is none of these crises and problems and fires are the real disease or disorder. The real problem underneath all this is that you haven't learned how to make a few critical shifts, okay, that allow you to move from being in love to lasting in love. There are steps along the way, okay, and we're not taught this. So when we don't know, we lose our path, we don't know how to last in love, no one knows how to help us, and we just go round and round. I'm going to tell you of these shifts today. So you see, every relationship has 5 stages, okay? We usually meet in stage 1, which is a romance stage, right? If you're in an arranged marriage, it may have been partly romance and partly a sense of, discovery and curiosity and hope and give and take partnership. Whatever it is, we meet around that first stage. And the things that, are eccentric to you or your partner, like maybe your partner is forgetful, or you tend to be very, very much of a perfectionist. These kind of things look so cute to us in the beginning, right? We say, if it wasn't for me, he'd never find his keys. It's just because he's a genius. He's thinking of all these things in his mind. He doesn't have time for these things. It's so cute. And your partner might say, oh, she's so perfectionistic because she's so good at her job. She just wants to be the best at everything. I love that. It's so cute. So the things that actually look really awesome to us and may even attract us in the beginning, after a few months or a few years have passed, those same freaking things get on our nerves. Am I right? Right? So after a while, the wife is saying, listen, I can't keep finding your keys for you. You'll have to think of a better system. Or he's saying, oh my God, why do you have to control everything? You're so anal, right? So the same things that drew us oftentimes become sources of irritation. And then life happens and other stresses come. And before you know it, you're in the power struggle stage, when it feels like it's a push and pull and you're stepping on each other's toes. And it feels painful, right? The thing I want to stress, though, is every relationship goes through the power struggle too. Okay, that's right. Even those couples in the 80s and 90s who are like, finishing each other's sentences and laughing at each other's corny jokes, even they went through the power struggle. The only difference is they managed to soothe and get out of it before it destroyed them. Okay, it's an inevitable part of growing in a relationship. You just need ways to get out of that. Okay, once you get out of it, you can move on to stability, commitment, and bliss. We don't have time to talk about those stages today. We're just going to focus on getting you out of the power struggle. Okay. Once you've made these shifts that I'm going to tell you, you'll be able to stop this endless cycle. You'll be each other's best friend. You'll really be able to trust in your partner and your relationship again. Okay, I promise. You'll be able to disagree, because guess what? We are going to disagree. We're 2 adults with different brains, different points of reference, different ways of being raised, right? Our childhoods were different. Of course, we're going to disagree. But you will know how to disagree in a way that actually brings you closer together. Yeah, that's possible. You can disagree and actually feel closer together rather than yelling, shutting down, or walking on eggshells. You'll become skillful. Okay, notice that word. It's a skill. It can be learned. You become skillful at connecting rather than criticizing or compromising. Admire each other's strengths again and feel appreciated for your contributions to the relationship and to the home. And have some fun and laughter and affection be a part of your daily life, right? That's what makes life worth living. And sometimes when we get into these painful dances, it colors our whole lives, right? So let's discover these 5 shifts. In introducing the first shift, I want to tell you a little bit more about my story and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. As I told you before, I'm a psychiatrist, I'm a couples therapist. I trained at Harvard University, and I really was honored and privileged to learn from the best of the best. I just, it was such an inspiring environment, and I learned so much just by association. I'm trained in the top 2 research-based, scientifically validated schools of couples therapy in the world, the Gottman method and emotion-focused therapy. I'm also trained in CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy, dialectical behavioral therapy, mindfulness-based therapies, and EMDR, which is a specific type of therapy that is helpful for people like us who like me, who are being traumatized. But that's not the real reason. The real reason that I'm in front of you actually is that I know what you're going through. Okay. I too struggled in my relationships. For a long time, I could not figure out how to have healthy, happy love that actually lasted, right? See, I grew up in a dysfunctional home. My parents, my mom was a child bride. She was married off when she was barely 16. My dad was 30. And so they really struggled in their marriage. There was a lot of stonewalling and shutting down and resentment and anger. And they loved us. They didn't mean to, but unintentionally, they passed on their pain to us kids. So as an adult, I put myself through medical school. I became professionally really successful. And I always have been blessed with great friendships. But romantic love that lasted just eluded me. I couldn't figure it out. Finally, I hit the pause button and I went and got coaching from a relationship therapist. This woman saved my sanity, okay? And looking back, not just my sanity, really, she saved my life. I wouldn't be living the life I'm living now if it wasn't for her, really. So I was so blown away by the power of the stuff I didn't know, I didn't realize that there's a whole science behind this. I used to think either relationships worked or they didn't, right? And I was so shocked that there was so much I didn't know that I decided to take it one step further, and I became a couples therapist myself. And now, after years of research and writing and training and going to tons of conferences, which I still go to, and working with lots and lots of amazing clients, I boiled it down to 5 essential shifts. This is the kicker. Within 4 months, okay, after decades of trying and it's not working, just within 4 months of learning and applying these shifts to my own life, I met my partner, who became my best friend, my soulmate, and now my spouse. Over the past few years, we built together the kind of, rock solid love that I once thought was beyond my reach. I thought some people were just lucky they were born to have that, and I just wasn't one of those. And it's not true. You can learn this. I am proof you can learn it. Since then, I've used these with tons of clients and helped them save their marriages, and I can help you too. So shift number 1. Okay. The first shift is name that dance. All right. See, every relationship is a dance. Okay. When you see 2 people on a dance floor and the dance looks beautiful, it's not because of the individual skill of each partner. It's because they both know how to move together in space, right? They know to listen to each other's bodies and to maintain a good equilibrium between space and connection. And they're able to move in sync with the music around them. That's what makes a dance beautiful to watch, right? If your dance right now feels hurtful, if you're stepping on each other's toes a lot, we tend to either blame ourselves, like, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? Or we tend to blame our partners, like, he's just like his mom, or she is angry all the time, right? It's not either of you. It is the dance between you that needs to be transformed, okay? There are several kinds of dances that we can get into, but the most common one that couples come to me with is called pursue withdraw. This is when one partner is pursuing, right? Is on the dance floor, but is upset and angry. The other person is starting to withdraw away from the dance floor, and the pursuing partner is anxiously trying to keep the other partner engaged. So I used to be a pursuing partner, right? So we tend to poke and criticize and nag and be upset and literally try to pull that person back to the dance floor on their hands and knees, right? While the other person is really shutting down. Okay. So what are some fears of pursuing partners? When couples come to me and I ask them, what are your underlying fears? Very commonly, pursuing partners, we feel we might be abandoned, right? We fear that this person will leave us. We feel rejected. I remember I used to want a certain reaction from my partner, and if I didn't get the exact reaction, which I almost never got, right? You can't engineer a reaction from another person. I would feel so hurt and crushed and rejected, so much pain. We tend to feel like maybe at my core there's something wrong with me, right? Maybe I'm just unlovable. We worry that we just don't matter to the other person. We wonder, maybe they can just take me or leave me. I don't know that I really matter to this person, which is a really scary feeling. Now, in research, when we ask withdrawing partners what their fears are, they have fears too, even though it looks like they don't really care and they've checked out sometimes. They actually are operating out of fear as well. Their fears are often being a failure. Like, whatever I do, it's never right. So why try? I'm always a failure. They fear being controlled, right? Withdrawing partners have told me, if I come to the dance floor, right, in that metaphor, my partner is going to literally control my limbs and tell me how to dance. And I don't want that. They fear never measuring up. They say, my husband is never going to be satisfied with the kind of partner I am, the kind of, parent I am. I'm never going to measure up to his yardstick. I'm never going to be good enough for her. So why bother? I'm just tired of this. I'm withdrawing. Okay. These fears, if you can, if some of these fears resonate in your heart, don't worry. This is very common in this dance and it can be completely healed. Okay. I want you to hear that. I have gone through this as well. It's completely able to be transformed. So I'd like to do an exercise. Okay. I want you to take a piece of paper and a little pen, and I want you to write down which role you think you play and which role your partner plays when you are upset with one another. Okay. Are you the pursuer? Are you often the withdrawer? Or maybe there's a combo dance going on. Sometimes both partners end up being pursuing and sort of attacking each other. And sometimes they're sort of both tired and exhausted and they both kind of withdraw from the dance. So maybe there's a combo dance. If you are often the pursuer, write down P in your piece of paper. If you're often the withdrawer, write down W. Or if you think, I think maybe we're caught in a combo dance, write down C for combo. I just want you to intentionally see your role and write it down, okay? Then I want you to give your name, your dance a name, okay? I'll give you an example. My partner and I, we call our dance the Lizzie, okay? Because, we know that we're reacting from the reptilian part of our brains when we're upset and panicking, right? So that's a lizard reptilian part. So we call our dance the Lizzie. And so when either of us notice that we're getting caught in the Lizzie, we say, uh-oh, here we go again. Lizzie's here. Let's boot her out, right? It's a way to use some gentle humor to catch yourself from going into a dance and to step out of it. And then we kind of hug and say, we're okay, we love each other. We just need to think about the space between us both. It's not you or me who's at fault. Okay, it helps us step out of it when we give it a name. Many of my clients will name their dance as the dragon or the black cloud or the tornado, anything that resonates with you. I want you to take a second and name it, name that dance. When you are at home tonight with your partner, have your partner think about this as well, and you might tweak the name so that it resonates with both of you. And then I want you to remind yourself, whoever catches it first, okay? Remind yourself to say, whoops, here we are in the storm again, or here we are doing the Lizzie again. Let's step out for a second, okay? We are okay, we love each other. We don't need to hurt each other, okay? Shift number 2, stop discussing your problems, right? This might be kind of controversial. Again, when you go to most couples therapists, they'll hone in and say, all right, what is your problem area? Let's try to figure this out. The thing is, of course, we have to talk about our problems when they come up and we need to resolve them in the moment. Fair enough. But most times than not, we might argue in the morning and then we brood about it all day, right? We perseverate on it all day. And then in the evening, we're still angry. We're giving our partners a silent treatment, or we're being snippy, because it's a chicken and egg problem. We think, oh, I can't feel connected to my partner until I've resolved that stupid thing that he said this morning. Or just convince her somehow that she was wrong in that argument that we had yesterday. The issue is 69% of problems, okay? Research has shown that 69, almost 70% of problems in marriages or in committed relationships are not solvable in the traditional sense. What does that mean? It means there's no one right answer, okay? There's never going to be one right answer, and you're never going to find one right answer. So why do we keep talking about our problems over and over? It's because we're wired to look for danger, for the stuff that's not working. That's just the way our brains are wired, right? We have a part of our brain called the reptilian brain, right? That looks constantly, scans the environment for what's wrong, because we think if we can find it and fix it, then we'll be safer. So it's just, a biological thing. If we can learn skills to soothe that part of the brain, then the frontal lobe, the part of our brain that makes us human and different from other animals, can kick in. And this is the part of the brain where you can respond based on your values and your long-term goals and looking at the big picture, right? Things that make for a good relationship. So when we talk over and over about our problems, it's almost addictive, right? Even though it feels painful, there's actually been shown to be a release of dopamine in the brain when we talk over and over about stuff that's not working. I'm not saying communication is not important. It is, for sure. But about what and how we go about it matters. Because what we focus on grows, right? If we keep practicing, and we've practiced probably this way of doing it for decades, guess what? Those neural circuits in your brain are so strong, they're firing rapidly before you can even think. You are literally an expert at that way of reacting. So we need constant practice to teach our brain to respond in different ways, okay? So here's an exercise. I want you to take a vow today, here with me now, to not bring up your problems unless something needs resolved in the moment. And I'll teach you how to do that. But other than if it's in the moment, take a vow now. Okay, close your eyes for a second and take a vow in your heart not to keep bringing up problems unless it needs resolved in the moment. So if it's not happening in the moment, we're going to let it go and not keep bringing it up. Okay? This alone, you guys, this alone will go a long way to saving your relationship. I promise you. We have a lot of research about this. Okay? Shift number 3. So with all the time that's freed up, now that we're not going to keep bringing up our problems, what should we do with all that time, right? We're going to reestablish your friendship and connection, okay? You see, when we try to communicate and problem solve without first building friendship and emotional attunement, it's like building the walls of a house, the most sacred house you'll ever build. It's like going to build those walls without even laying a foundation down. Do you think that'll work? It's not going to work, right? No wonder that building keeps crumbling down. This friendship and connection is the foundation. You can always go back to that. If it feels like you're off, go back to friendship and connection. I often describe this to the couples I work with as a mountain, right? Let's imagine you're standing in front of a mountain and you want to see the other side. You want to see all the possibility and the beautiful scenery on the other side of the mountain. Even if you stand in front of the mountain and plead and cry for 10 years and hope and wish, you're not going to be able to see the other side. You have to climb that mountain, right? So 1/3 of that mountain is learning how to catch yourself and step out of that reactive dance. Okay, give it a name, step out of it, and reconnect for a second. The second third is honing your friendship and appreciation and emotional connection. And final part of the mountain is problem solving. Okay, when you actually climb the mountain as it's meant to be climbed, you will get to the top and you will see great vistas and possibilities in your relationship that you can't even imagine right now. Okay, so how do we build this? There's a whole science behind building, rekindling friendship with our partners. I'm going to give you just one tip right now because we only have, an hour with each other. I'm going to give you at least one exercise per shift that we're going to do together here right now. Okay. One way is to be curious about your partner's world. You see, couples come to my office and it's so heartbreaking. They say, I'm really lonely. I don't think my partner really knows my world, my heart, the things that worry me or bring me joy. Life gets in the way, and anger and upset and disappointment gets in the way, and we stop being curious about our partner's world. Here's an exercise. Okay. Name 2 people. Take out your pen and paper and name 2 people in your partner's life that he or she recently felt intimidated by. Okay. The reason I say intimidated is because it's kind of a subtle feeling, right? It's not angered by or felt happy with or upset with, intimidated by, a little bit threatened by. Okay. It's kind of a litmus test to see how well you know your partner's world. I want you to write that down, okay? If you can think of just one, that's fine. If you can't think of any, that's okay. It's very, very common, okay? And we can learn each other's world. And if you happen to know both these answers, 2 people in your partner's life, that's great. And you may still be caught in a power struggle, but at least you have this part working for you, which is a good thing, okay? So going forward, every day, I want you to ask your partner one simple question about their world, okay? It doesn't have to be big or difficult. Many times couples will tell me, he never opens up to me. I ask him questions. He just doesn't want to talk, but honestly, as human beings, we all love talking about ourselves. We love sharing our inner world, right? If you're able to ask without any agenda, no hidden intentions, just a lighthearted question, your partner will answer, trust me. You can even start off with something easy, like let's say your partner plays golf and just say, honey, I've never asked you, what's your favorite golf club, right? That's an easy one, and I'm sure your partner will love telling you all about his or her favorite golf clubs. Determine and dedicate to yourself that you will ask one question every day for the rest of your life about your partner's world, right? We're all changing as people, and you'll be surprised how much you can learn more and more about your partner every day, even if you think you know everything already, right? The second part of that is emotional connection. So what is emotional connection, right? We talk about emotional connection as there's an acronym for it. It's called R. Are you there for me? Okay, that's how I remember it. Emotional connection is about people asking, are you there for me? The A part of that is available. If your partner is in crisis, are you available? Can he or she reach you? That's A. R is responsive. Okay, do you pick up? Even if you're in the midst of something important, do you pick up at least for a second and say, honey, are you okay? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Shoot. All right, I'm in the middle of something important. I promise we'll talk about it when I come home. Don't worry, we got this. That's all you need to say. Not even that much, 2 seconds. But are you responsive? And the third part of emotional connection is engaged. Are you able to stay in the moment, engaged with them without rushing into problem solve or telling them what to do, just staying in that space? That's engaged. When you're able to be available, responsive, and engaged, that's what feels like I'm really emotionally close to my partner, okay? Another important way to develop emotional connection is through appreciation. When we study in research, the couples who are, really close and happy together over a long period of time, they seem to have 5 times more open appreciation for each other compared to their complaints. Okay? I'm not telling you to count the number of times you appreciate your partner. I'm saying when you develop emotional connection, it'll naturally be that you will appreciate, there'll be an air of appreciation between you both that'll work out to be at least 5 times more than the criticism. Okay? Here's an exercise. I want you to scan your partner every day for 3 good things. Okay? In fact, go out and get a little notebook, or maybe you're like me and you collect notebooks for no reason, and so you have a ton of them at home. Take a notebook, name it your 3 good things journal, and keep it in your bedside, okay? At the end of every night, I want you to jot down 3 things that you admired or you were thankful for in your partner that particular day. It's got to be specific to that day, okay? Even when there's so much anger and hurt in a relationship, you'd be surprised. You can still find things to admire and respect about your partner if you look. Okay. By the way, isn't this couple so cute in this slide? Every time I see this slide, I'm just like, oh my God, they're so freaking cute. I want to be them. Right? So sweet. So let's start right now. Okay. Let's write down for today your 3 good things. Let's do the first of those 3 good things right now. Write down in your piece of paper or notebook 1 good thing that you respect or you admired or you were thankful for in your partner just in the last 24 hours. Okay? I'm going to wait for 10 seconds and I want you to do it right now. There's no better time than now to begin to heal our relationships. So I'm going to give you a few seconds and take a swig of water. And I want you to write down 1 thing that you appreciate about your partner just in the last 24 hours. Trust me, guys, when you look, you will find it. Okay? Okay. All right. Excellent. Good job. Good job. Now we're on to shift number 4. So now I'm going to tell you how to actually be able to talk so you feel heard and listen so your partner feels seen and understood. Okay? This is a particular method that I've developed that I help my couples with. So here's an exercise. I want you to pick a topic that isn't too emotionally charged to start with. Usually when I do this with my couples, they might pick something like, who's going to walk the dog, or who's going to pick up Johnny from football practice. Something that irks you a little bit, but isn't too upsetting, okay? Think of a topic in your mind right now. And I want you to imagine taking turns, okay? Actually, when you go home tonight, do this with your partner. Even if you read an entire encyclopedia on how to ride a bike, you're not going to know how to ride a bike until you get on the bike and try and fall and practice, right? So don't just take this information, don't actually use it. Go try it tonight, okay? Take turns being the speaker and the listener. When you're the speaker, this is the most important skill, I would say. In fact, if you take nothing else from this webinar, please take this. The first 30 seconds of a conversation, research and scientists and people who work with couples, we can tell whether the relationship is going to last and also how that conversation is going to end. Can you imagine that just in the first 30 seconds? Okay, because how a conversation starts is often a very good indicator of how it will end. All right, so whenever you're the speaker, I want you to practice this skill called a gentle startup. Starting your complaint or your concern in a gentle way. And what does that mean? It means you say, I feel X. Okay, maybe you're frustrated or upset or disappointed, whatever it is you're feeling about why. Why is the situation? Whatever the situation is, describe the situation, don't describe the person. Okay? And then you say, I need Z. And Z is your underlying positive, vulnerable longing or wish. Every time there's a conflict, both parties have some kind of longing in their hearts that they want, but it feels too vulnerable to say, so they cover it up. We cover it up in anger and blame. So I want you to set the anger aside and actually speak out your positive wish. Okay? Let me give you an example. Let's say it bugs you if your partner leaves coffee cups on the countertop instead of putting it in the sink. You could say, I feel overwhelmed when I walk into the kitchen and I see coffee cups, dirty coffee cups all over the countertop. Notice how you're describing your feeling and the situation, the scene. You're not saying, I feel like you don't care when you're too lazy to put the cups back in the sink. Okay? You're talking about your feelings and just describing the situation. Then you say, I would really like it if you remember to put it into the sink. That would make me feel better. That is your underlying positive wish. Without any blame, you're just asking for what you want. Okay? When you're the listener, don't interrupt, right? Whenever we're listening to someone, we're mostly rehearsing what we want to say, right? So instead of that, ask questions. Try to clarify, what did you actually mean when you said that? Tell me more about how disappointed you. You said you were disappointed. Tell me more about that. Try to really understand your partner's world and where they're coming from and their emotions. You don't need to agree with it. I want you to just listen for their underlying feelings and empathize with those feelings, right? You don't have to agree. You can still empathize with their hurt or their pain or their tears. And then once you've taken turns being the speaker and the listener, you're going to write down what is your core need about that situation and what are the areas that you're willing to be flexible about. Okay, so for example, you might say, you know what, it actually doesn't bug me on weekends as much because, weekends are relaxed, loosey-goosey. I don't mind if some coffee cups are on the counters on the weekends. On weekdays, it really, really feels overwhelming. So your core need, you've talked about, and you've said, I'm flexible on the weekends. Your partner might say, okay, I totally get that. I will actually write a small note next to the sink so it'll remind, because I actually just forget. I don't mean to do it to annoy you. I'll write a small note and try to put it in. My core need is, even when I forget, I need you to say it gently and not jump down my throat. Right? So you figured out a way to get what you need without compromising who you are, but also being able to have areas of flexibility. You can only do that if you actually take turns and do the gentle startup. Okay, I'll give you an example. This is a real couple that I have worked with. The names are changed, obviously, for privacy, but their story is real. So Ben and Sarah, Ben is a stay-at-home parent. He, they have a special date on Saturday for dinner, and he has been waiting all week. Sarah is busy at work in a major project. She's been really distracted, and he's missed her. So he goes shopping. He makes her favorite meal. He's even got flowers, and they sit down to dinner on Saturday, and she's super distracted, right? She keeps checking her phone because she's worried about work. So they got into an argument, and when they came to me, we actually went through this exercise, and we determined that Ben's core need was to feel seen and valued and appreciated, and to feel like he could connect with his wife after such a long, busy week. Sarah's core need was to feel like her hard work and stress was being understood and supported. Okay, so when they did this exercise, instead of going into the panic mode where our reptilian brain says things like, she only cares about her work, she doesn't respect me, or he just wants what he wants, doesn't know how stressed I am, doesn't care about that, right? That's what our lizard brain tells us. But when you go through this exercise, you see that both of you are coming from just a place of need. So how can they resolve this now that they know their core need and they've figured out the areas of flexibility? Here's what we came to. This is what Sarah said at the end of this exercise. This is a quote from her. Honey, it totally makes sense that you feel disappointed. You've missed me. You want to connect. In fact, I've really missed you too. I promise. How about this? I promise to give you my full attention to our date. I'm going to put my phone away for a few hours. My core need is I have a deadline by tomorrow afternoon. Will you help me later, but so I can work tonight? Okay, so see how she was able to empathize with his feelings, identify her core need and the areas that she could be flexible in. And this is what Ben came to. He said, absolutely, honey, I had no idea you were this stressed at work. I realized you are under a deadline. How about this? I need you to be present right now. And afterward, I'll take over. I'll put the kids to bed and clean up so you can work in peace. Okay. So I want you guys to try this tonight with something that's not too much of a hot button topic. Because remember, we talked about the neural pathways. We need to practice. Practice makes perfect. Okay. Great relationships are not born. They are created. So at the end of your exercise, I want you to celebrate. Okay. You could just cuddle on the couch for a couple of minutes. You could watch a funny clip, a cat video, or just get some ice cream together. It doesn't matter. I want you to celebrate for a few minutes, okay? The reason being, we want to teach our brains that when we connect in this way, we can even talk about difficult things, and it actually brings us closer together. You've heard each other's inner world. You've felt seen and understood. You've figured out a way that is an actual solution, not just a watered down compromise, right? And so you want to teach your brain that that's a good thing. So please celebrate. Shift number 5, get a coach, okay? You don't need more time, information, compromise, patience, better communication skills. You need a transformation, okay? We've all had inherited messages about love and commitment from our childhoods. By this time, after decades of practice, we just can go into that in a second without even thinking about it, right? So I've given you some broad strokes here, but what you need is a step-by-step system, a whole system, accountability, expert advice, and support to make a change that actually lasts. And save your marriage or your relationship and create the peaceful, loving home that you and your family deserve. So I see some of you raising hands. You probably have questions. I'm going to leave a few minutes at the end of the talk for questions. So hold on to your thought, write it down, and we will have time for questions, okay? I want to make sure that I get through the presentation so you guys have all the skills. So this is Sunita and Jacob. Names are changed, obviously, but we worked together a few years ago, and she recently wrote to me to share some good news. And she says, we tried everything before we found you. Books, spiritual advice. We even did couples therapy for a year. We just kept arguing, mostly about money, but also about housework and parenting. It was so bad, we began avoiding each other. I remember I could barely sleep at night, knowing my daughter was watching this. She picks things up like a sponge, right? Don't all kids, right? They know exactly what to listen for. A few weeks after we started the program, slowly things began to change. I don't even know how, but we went from being constantly angry with each other to honestly falling in love all over again. I think the best part of the program was always having you to rely on as we learned and tried new things those 4 months. It's been 3 years since we finished, and I love the marriage we built. In fact, we're expecting our second. Fingers crossed we can keep up with all the upcoming chaos, LOL, right? These kind of emails and letters, I mean, they make my heart sing, right? This is why I do what I do. It makes me so happy. You know, generations of their family will grow up in more security and be able to enjoy a good life and not have to go through so much pain and regret, right? That's a wonderful thing. And I'm sure they'll do great with the upcoming chaos. Their love is really strong. So anyway, here's a recap. Name that dance, give it a name, and learn to step out of it. Know what your role is and step out of it. Connect for a second, remind each other that it's not either party, it's the dance that needs changed. Stop bringing up problems, okay? Instead, start with friendship and connection. And we talked about how to do that. One tip about friendship is being curious about your partner's world. And you all took a vow today to ask one question of your partner's world every day for the rest of your life. Okay, right? Then we talked about connection. Are you there for me? And how to appreciate. And we even started your 3 good things journal. You wrote down 1 good thing, right? And you're going to write down the other 2 good things that you noticed in your partner that you're thankful for in the last 24 hours. You know what? You get brownie points if you share those 3 things after you write them down with your partner. Even better. But if it feels too raw right now and you're not able to share, that's okay. Just write it down for your benefit. The more your brain is looking for it, the more you'll feel calmer in your body. Then we talked about how to actually talk and take turns and do a gentle startup and figure out how to have a core need and flexibility so you can create a solution that brings you both closer together rather than driving you further and further apart. And I said, get coaching so you can make these skills work for you in your relationship. So here's an exercise. When we have true love in our lives, right? When we feel unconditionally cherished, it gives us a sense of safety, right? We feel like we have wings to fly and courage to create anything. So if you had that kind of relationship, what would you create? Close your eyes for a moment and listen to your heart. Listen to that little bird chirping underneath all the worry and hurt and disappointment. There is a little bird chirping in there about your dreams. I want you to close your eyes and listen for that voice. Okay, and I want you to write down in your notepad 1 dream that comes up for you. Sometimes my clients say, I want to, go back to school and pursue a passion. Some people say, I want to, give up my job or go part-time and spend more time with the kids. Some people say, I had a couple once actually decide to take a whole year off and travel around the world. Some people think about starting a nonprofit. Some people think about bringing their first child or more kids into the relationship if they felt that secure that nothing can ever come in between or shake that bond. Okay, so listen to your heart and write down one dream that comes up. It's okay if it's a small one or a big one. And if nothing comes up, that's okay too. Okay. Over time, as you do these exercises, you will be able to hear that voice more and more. Okay. All right. Very good. Okay. So now you have 3 choices in front of you, you guys. You can procrastinate and just kind of like not do anything with this. You can try a DIY piecemeal approach. Some things work, some things don't, and eventually you're back to the same old. Or you can allow me, give me the privilege of holding your hand and helping you navigate the seas of your power struggle, creating rock solid love, and following a scientific model that's proven to work, and do it from the comfort of your home. Okay? Family, to me, it feels like our relationships and our family is the most precious thing we have, right? It's what makes life worthwhile. So let's do everything in our power to save yours. In the beginning of this presentation, I mentioned a free gift, and now I want to tell you more about that. I've set aside time in the next few weeks to talk to you about how you can apply these ideas to your relationship starting today. Because again, these are broad strokes. How can we apply it to your partnership and your relationship and your history and your family? It's completely free of charge. What happens during the call? We'll get total clarity on what you want and need from your partnership. We'll reconnect with your best friend, rekindle romance, and restore deep trust. We'll create a blueprint, a relationship blueprint with crucial steps to move you from out of power struggle to stability, commitment, and bliss. In short, we will map out the exact steps to take your marriage from rocky to rock solid. That is my promise to you. That is my commitment to you during this call. It's not for everyone, though. It is for you if you're really sick and tired of this dynamic. You've struggled to make changes on your own and it works for a bit and then you're back. But you're really committed to this and you are unwilling to give up on this without a fight. Okay? You're committed to doing work because it doesn't come easy, right? And you really can't wait to feel fully known, unconditionally loved, and passionately desired again. This call at this time is not for you if you're hoping for some sort of give me a couple of tips and I just need a quick fix. Because there is no such thing as a quick fix. If you're stuck in blame mode and you're sort of needing to make yourself or your partner wrong, then this might not be the time for a call. It's also not for you if you're just curious and you're dabbling, but you're not yet willing to give your all to the possibility of a rock solid marriage or partnership, then it's not for you. Okay. People ask me, what if my partner is not fully invested? Should I call if my partner is not fully in it yet? Yes, you should. Lots of couples have come to me where initially it was just one partner. You can change the dance just by changing your steps, right? Imagine a couple on a dance floor, okay? If one partner, the dance partner, started dancing totally differently, it would be a different dance, right? So we've done this many times. It totally works if only one of you is committed right now. So if you are committed and you want to save your relationship, do make the call. Why am I doing this? On the call, like I said, I'm going to give you complete clarity. That is I'm going to be a stand for your relationship and give you everything I have, my knowledge, my expertise, and my ability to quickly diagnose a relationship issues. And I'll teach you what is holding you back from a blissful marriage and how to get there. At the end of the call, if you desire my help to actually get there, and if we both agree it's a good fit, I might invite you to become one of my new clients I work with this month in my Love Unlimited program, the 4-month program for couples who are wanting to really strengthen their bond. Again, at the end of the call, if we both decide it's not a good fit, no worries at all. I promise you, you will still gain a tremendous amount of value. I've done this for more than a decade. I will promise you right now, you will still get a ton of value just from being on the call. You'll get to pick my brains for a whole hour and we'll create a blueprint. Okay. At the end of it, whether we work together or not going forward, that's fine. Okay. The only thing I want to say is apply now. The last time I did this, literally all the spots were booked in a few hours. Okay. So if you are even thinking that maybe this might help you, apply now. Just take that spot. Okay. Spaces really fill up super fast. Life is short. Don't live in pain and regret any longer. That's what I want to say, right? Thank you for spending this time with me. I look forward to talking with you really soon and helping you create peaceful, loving, passionate marriage. All right? Take care. This is the link right below for scheduling your call. I'm going to put it in our chat here, and then we'll do Q&A. So I know some of you have questions. We'll definitely get to that. Do not worry. Try to find the chat here. There it is. Okay. Someone says, he may say, why are you asking about the golf club? That's okay. If he does, you can say, just because I want to know, I feel like I haven't asked you about stuff that's important to you. I literally have no agenda, honey. I just want to know. Tell me about something that excites you. You're excited about the golf club? I want to know. Okay? This presentation, somebody's asking, will it be shared? Absolutely. You will get a link to a replay. How to engage my partner to be interested in getting a coach? That's a really good question. You know, share this. I will be sending out a replay link. Have your partner watch the webinar, okay? And then tell them that they can get on the call. There's no pressure. It's a free call. It's just to learn more about how to make this work for you guys. And you don't have to take a step beyond that, but at least there's a possibility that they would be willing to try it when they actually go through listening to the webinar and they realize it's not about blaming them. We're not trying to blame them or find fault. Usually partners say no because they feel either exhausted and they don't feel any hope, or they feel like, oh, you know, you found somebody and both of you are going to gang up on me and tell me that I'm wrong. So show them the webinar and have them come on the call, no pressure. Yes, you can book alone. You don't have to have your partner be on the call, that's fine. Someone says, what if we're single, but we want to shift what still feels raw from a previous relationship? Can we still work with you? You can. The program that I have is mostly for, at this point, it's for couples who are working through something together. But we can figure out how to help you actually heal from a previous relationship too. Honestly, and this is from CT, honestly, if you are not healed and in a place of possibility, it's going to be hard for you to not recreate the same pattern in the next relationship, right? I did this. I used to keep recreating the same thing over and over. So yes, reach out to me. Let's have a call. Do you have advice about how to improve a relationship with an Asperger's partner? That's a great question. I have been a part of some work and research about how to work with a partner who may not get social skills as well as some, the rest of us might, although that itself is a big range, right? Some of us are more astute and some of us are less astute. So it's a big range, but yes, we can definitely talk about that. If this person is in a relationship with you and you are wanting to save it, then they have enough skills to make it work. If they have enough skills to make you feel that you want to save this, then yes, we can work with that. So call me, okay? At the beginning, there will be defensiveness. Yes, they're used to seeing a different behavior. Absolutely. Don't try to, here's what I tell my couples, don't try to trick your partners in anything. Tell them openly, I listened to this webinar. It was really useful. Listen to it with me or listen to it on your own, honey. Tell me what you think. what she said makes sense, and I want to try to be the partner that I want. So I am doing this genuinely. I'm not trying to do anything, trying to get you to change or anything. I want to be relaxed and comfortable in my own skin and to be the best person I can be, right? It's a lot for ourselves too. It's not all about just making our partners in this relationship work. So what if your partner has it wired that everything I say becomes blaming of him? Clutter makes me stressed out. I would appreciate if you can help put the stuff away. He says, why are you blaming me again? Yeah. So that means that oftentimes this dance has gone on so long between you both that you only have to, your eye twitches and your partner is like, why would you look at me like that? What are you trying to signal to me, right? It's just a kind of a signal, really, that there's been a lot of strife, so much so that both of you are not really trusting each other. And we can work on trust first. First and foremost, we'll work on friendship and connection and trust. And when you have that foundation, TJ, it's from TJIH82. I'll call you TJ. So TJ, when you have that foundation, your partner will be ready to listen. Trust me. I've done this many, many times. I will teach you how to rebuild that trust so you're not responding from a place of suspicion, okay? What if I'm single for 16 years and want to be in a relationship? Okay, I think the biggest need for us as human beings is to be in a relationship, right? To be loved, rather, even whether you choose to be, it doesn't matter what kind of relationship. This works for if you're straight, if you're gay, if you're, if you're interracial, if you're from the US or from some other country, like I'm from India. It doesn't matter. What matters is if you're committed to your partner and to making that work. So if you're single and want to be in a relationship, yes, you can learn this. In fact, you should learn this work, because then you'll be able to attract the partner that you deserve and want. So absolutely, you can do this, and you can create space in your heart that helps you attract the person that you need. Okay. So any other questions? I'm looking through. I want to make sure. Oops, somebody says audio is not working. I hope most of you heard it. Uh-oh. Can some of you type in and just let me know if you heard the presentation? I'm thinking you did. Yes, I heard it all. Okay. Whoa. Thank goodness. Okay, I almost freaked out. Perfect. Thank you, guys. You're so welcome. Oh, thanks, Divya. I'm glad it's okay now. Okay, perfect. Let me see. So it's 10 minutes past 3, but I'm going to hang out for another 10 minutes to answer more questions. And I'm going to keep the link on. Can you guys see the link? Would you like me to put it in the chat, or are you able to see the link if you want to schedule? Just let me know if you're able to see the link, okay? So what else? Our kid is a special needs kid, which takes most of our time when we get home from work. Yes, I have worked with couples with extenuating circumstances. Sometimes it's a special needs child. Sometimes it's an aging parent who's living with them, and you don't have time for yourself, right? You're asking, how do we go about improving our connection and relationship? Gayam, or Gia, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. You can always set aside 5 to 10 minutes a day, okay? Even if literally you're taking care of an entire household or there's a joint family, you can, if you're intentional, set aside, I usually recommend my couples set aside 10 to 20 minutes a day. That's all I ask of you guys, okay? And I'll teach you skills that you can do in just 10 to 20 minutes a day. That's it. You don't need much more. And your relationship will feel like you can create feeling in love and committed and really connected again. So it is possible, okay? We've been together 15 years, says Rebecca, and have such a well-played dance. That's right. We don't have to have kids. I feel it's affecting my fertility. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, what a great question. Yes, Rebecca, I've worked with people for whom it's affecting, at least we think, it's impossible to say, but it's certainly not helping, right? This kind of, there's so much research about how our relationships with our partners affects our immune systems, okay? When, I don't know if you guys saw one of the videos that I sent a couple of days ago, maybe it was yesterday, a day before, and I talked about the 4 toxic behaviors that often destroy relationships. One of them is contempt, but we notice that if there's a lot of criticism and contempt in this dance, both parties fall sick more. Can you imagine? It actually affects your immune system and your capacity to keep your body well. There's a lot of inflammation, cortisol and glucocorticoids, which get released when there's that much tension in the relationship. So yes, it does affect many things. Yes, this can help. Absolutely. Please reach out, book a call. We'll talk in detail about it. Absolutely. I'm really proud of you for wanting to fix it and get this. Please put in chat, says Yogini. Okay, I'm putting it in now. Apply now. Bear with me, guys. I grew up in India, so I did not learn to type until I was much older. So I have to kind of look at this, look down when I'm typing. So I'm a slow typer. Hopefully I have that right. No, I don't. Whoops. There we go. Do I have it now? Apply now. Yes, Dr. Kavetha Sun /acuityscheduling.com. I think, yeah, this is it. Here you go. You can click on that link and book a call, okay? What if my partner is suffering from depression? Very, very typical. The reason I am trained in CBT and DBT and EMDR is because many of us have struggled or are struggling with mood, with low mood, sadness, or with anxiety, or we've something traumatic has happened to us either in our childhoods, but sometimes even in the relationship, right? And all those memories and those trauma reactions get in the way of repairing the relationship. So yes, if you are struggling with depression or anxiety, or your spouse is, that's fine. It can be healed. This, I'm not going to treat the depression. I'm going to function as your relationship coach, but I can help. Absolutely. There's a lot of research that mental health actually improves with our social connections, especially our most important ones. So how do I work on it when my partner is away from work every other day, and when he's back, is not back till 8 p.m. and I'm too tired? Right. Okay. So this also I've seen with several couples. One of the couples travels a lot. We'll have to talk. Please book a call. Let's explore this in detail. There's usually some way to figure it out, to be creative that you might not have thought about. And I can give you some ideas. If it looks like we may need to change some things, I'll give you some ideas on how to do that as well. So yeah, that's okay. It didn't show, says Yogini. I'm not sure what didn't show the link. Okay, let me try that again. Got it. Okay, I'm going to try that again. Copy. Bear with me, guys. Oh, there we go. That's right. See, I'm technologically a little challenged. Let me know if you can see the link now. Can you guys see the link now? Awesome. Perfect. Perfect. So do click and come and have a chat with me. So do you advocate for, that cut off? What if my partner has real mental health issues? Can we transform without him getting treated? So that depends on what's actually going on. Okay. Some things, yes, some things, no, you do need to get that treated. It depends on what it is. So yeah, come on the call. We'll explore it, and I'll guide you either way. Okay. Okay. So let's see. You're welcome, Tara. You're welcome. You're so welcome. Oh my gosh, so many of you saying thank you, thank you. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, Bhavna says, feels like some of these concepts can be applied to non-romantic partners. Absolutely, Bhavna. Yes, it can be applied to even your closest relationships. At least some of the ones that I've talked about today. There are some differences to romantic partnerships, and if you guys really want to heal your relationship and make it rock solid, there are lots of things that I'll teach you that pertain to just romantic partners. But yes, some of these things that I share with you today, absolutely, you can use this with your best friend, with your child, with your parents, any relationship that is really, really important to you. Okay, so let's see if there's anything else. Actually, let me close this down. Here's that link again. Okay. How does one sign up to the Love Unlimited online course? So, Kanna, come onto the call. Let's see if that's right for you first, okay? Because it's I don't want you to sign on to something unless you know exactly what you're signing on to, and we really determine that it's right for you at this point. So book a call, come on the call, let's explore your relationship in your situation, and then we'll determine. And if it is right for you, I'll tell you how to sign up, okay? Someone says, MS Mohammed Mumina. Thank you so much. I'm nervous but excited to call. I'm excited to talk to you. Can't wait to speak with you. Yes. So here's that link again. Feel free to call, guys. Any other questions before we sign off? I want to make sure that I've answered the ones that have come up so far. I think I have. You're so welcome. Here is the link one last time. Let me see if I can get this going. Okay, here's that link one last time. Where will we get replay link? Tomorrow. Tomorrow, everybody who registered for the webinar, and literally there's hundreds of you guys, so all of you will get a replay link. Share it with your partners, okay? That's what I would recommend. Do the exercises. Go home and listen to the webinar one more time yourself. Listen to it with your partner. Do the exercises with your partner. Book a call with me, and we'll come up with the exact steps that you need to take. I promise. Okay? Okay. All right. So thank you so much for joining me. Yay. I had so much fun, you guys. This was amazing. Thank you for coming on and spending this hour with me. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Oh my gosh, you're so welcome. Mwah. This work warms my heart. It's like literally, I feel like I had like 10 cups of coffee. I'm so excited. So thank you guys for being with me this hour. And I look forward to speaking with lots and lots of you on the call and helping you with your relationship. Okay? All right. Signing off now. Sayonara. Bye-bye. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Bye, guys. See you. You'll get the replay tomorrow. And yeah, watch it with your partners. That's my final request before I sign off. Bye, guys. Bye-bye.